drinking with Doug. Day drinking. Day drinking with Doug. Day drinking. Day drinking with Doug. Day drinking.
Viva Tequila Seltzer, the #1 hard seltzer in the world and the official hard seltzer of Day Drinking with Dog. Ditch the malt, add tequila.
Welcome back, Day Drinking with Dog. It is, I don't even know, January something, 17th, 18th. I can't keep track when you're not working down in Florida. The weather's been crap, not going to lie. Got down here on about January 6th. And, yeah, it's this is the first real sunny day. I can sit outside in the lanai and enjoy the nice weather. And it's been kind of crazy. So it's probably the worst weather time I've ever been down here. If it's been 80, it's been cloudy and windy and humid, and if it's been sunny, it's been 60, and every other day's just been filled with thunderstorms. And I'll get to the big one I had on Monday night in a second. But obviously, I want to thank everyone that reached out on my Facebook post about my father passing. It was tough. It's tough when you don't talk to someone for a while and they pass away on you, especially if it's your parents or loved ones or siblings or anything like that. And, everyone always says, make that phone call, do that extra mile. And, life goes on, and the holidays were happening, and work was busy, and we just never caught up. The last day I saw my father was at my childhood friend's memorial. My childhood friend Todd, who grew up across the street from my father, and ironic, I guess, is the last time I saw him was celebrating his life. And we will do the same for my father. We're just going to announce it at a better date. The weather's crap up there, and he has such a huge family, so we want to make sure everyone gets the chance to make plans to get out to South Deerfield, Mass, and celebrate my father's life. So I don't really want to talk too much about it. It's life, and we all go through it, and so everyone's struggling with something like that, and I reach out to you, I feel for you, and excuse me. So let's move forward. I will be talking about my father in the future. I'm actually going to start something. He was basically he was at the age where he was scammed. I've talked about this in the past when I had Tony G on, talking about how he was scammed out of some money from online predators, and gonna make it my mission to educate and to look for pitfalls and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that in the actually very near future. I've already been working on it. So and that'll be I just don't want to see stuff like that happen to anybody else. And I have friends it's happened to their parents, so it's quite prominent, and the numbers are staggering, and the statistics are staggering, and it's fucking windy out here. So, but it is not icy, it is not snowy. There is no school cancellations down here, so all the kids are actually they're right behind me. There's a school right behind me over here. So, I wanted to get this in before I headed home, and I had this. Probably one of the craziest, most anxiety-filled nights of my life on Monday night. So my girlfriend Nicole and her son Braden were down for the long weekend. It was a short stint, but I'm glad they got down here. And their flight was 6:50 on Monday, the Avilo, right back to New Haven. Boom, boom, easy peasy. So we decided to go to Topgolf, which is about 15 minutes from the airport in Fort Myers. And we went there we were there a couple hours, but we played for 90 minutes, and the rain was starting to come in, thunderstorms, shit like that. And when we got in our car, it was raining pretty heavy. But I got them to the airport at 5 o'clock. So they were good to go, got their bags, checked in. Their flight was delayed a little bit, but, they made it home. Me, on the other hand, so where my mom's house is, where I stay, should be no more than an hour to get home with traffic. If it's late at night, you're there in 40 minutes. So Cape Coral's kind of like an island. It's not technically an island, but to enter it from down here, instead of the north, it's two bridges you got to go over. two separate bridges. You can take one or the other to get you on the island. And as I'm crossing the bridge to get in, and my GPS starts like going crazy. Like it went from arrival of 5:53 to 6:35 to 7:02 back to 6 o'clock. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I see this dark cloud, and I did post something on this on Facebook the other night. So I see this dark cloud rolling in, and I actually take a picture of it. And I'm like, Nicole's texting me, "You home yet?" And I'm like, I'm stuck in traffic. So I get over the bridge, and now I'm kind of familiar in my area, passing all the restaurants I've been to. It's Cape Coral Parkway. It's 3 lanes in, 3 lanes out. It's pretty wide. And as I'm getting closer to my house, within 4 miles now, my estimated time of arrival is reached about 7:45. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And now it's got me on all these crazy routes going past my mom's house and around. And as I'm noticing this, I'm noticing the right lane of the 3 lanes is flooded. I'm like, oh, geez. Still don't think too much about it. I keep going. Now the middle lane is flooded as well. And I'm in the 3rd lane, the passing lane. And the middle lane is flooded. And now there's a car on the far right who's stranded. He's stalled out. He's getting out of his car, shaking his head. And now I am like 0.2 miles from, it's called Chiquita Parkway. And Chiquita brings me to Savona where my mom lives. So I'm about to take a ride on Chiquita, and I'm thinking, just get on Chiquita, straight shot, I'll get home. Well, the whole turn is flooded at Chiquita. That's why GPS was telling me to go past that road and take another right. But now there's cars stranded all over the place, mostly sedans. And in Florida, it's a lot of sedans and a lot of big hillbilly pickup trucks that aren't 4-wheel drive. They're just gigantic, so they don't stall out because they're so high up above the water. So they're all flying around. So I pull into a little plaza, a little higher ground. Call my mom and her husband. I'm like, does this happen before? And they're like, outside of a hurricane, which they weren't here for, they've never seen it. So I'm like, all right. So I have a plan. I am in a lot. I have to get across that street, which is completely flooded, to the other lot, which is a gas station, and then I can drive the wrong way for a little bit to cut back over to this Chiquita road I need to get to and avoid that big puddle in the middle. So I'm waiting. I'm watching a couple cars, like sedans. They get through, so now I feel more confident. I got a little, Kia Sportage, a little higher up. So I go for it, and I literally, it's like the hood of my car almost goes underwater. I get through it. I get up into the gas station. I fucking take a little break. My heart's racing. Anxiety's through the roof. So I did my plan. I take a left. There's no water. Going the wrong way. And then I scoot over to the right side of the road. And I am 2 miles from home. And now it's probably 7 o'clock. And I'm in that road for an hour and a half. Not moving at all. Cars stalling out everywhere. So I just have this Kia Telluride in front of me, kind of the same height as mine. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to follow this dude as long as it takes. I got a full tank of gas, whatever. So we creep. Now I'm 0.2 miles from turning onto my mom's road. And this is where it gets kind of fucking fucked up. So there's so many cars stalled out and people like standing on the roofs of their cars. And it's a lot of kids. They're kind of laughing, thinking it's funny, not realizing the situation, trudging around in the water. So I follow the Telluride. I get through it. It was up to my fucking door panel. I'm like, holy shit, I made it through. All right, I'm just going to take a left on my mom's street, and I'm home free. Well, you couldn't get to my mom's street. There was like 4 cars that were stalled out and just blocking the way. I might have been able to make it up, and I'm not going to try to go on the other side of the road and get stuck. So there's a little veterinary clinic on the corner, higher ground parking lot. I just flipped a Yui, went up there, said, fuck it, I'm walking home. About a quarter mile, maybe, tops. So as I'm walking home, it's just knee deep, up to my waist at some points. Fucking walking back to the house, sludging with my sandals on, hoping no nighttime alligators are floating around there. Fucking one of the craziest things I've ever been through. Like, I've been through Sandy and Irene, but I didn't stay home. I didn't witness the flooding. I wasn't dealing with the flooding, so I've never been involved in an actual flood. And now the stories are coming. So I make it home. take pictures. They're on my Facebook. No house damage because our house is up a little bit. So, but the water, when these stupid big pickup trucks come driving by, they almost create a wake, and the waves were crashing up almost to the door, the garage door of my mom's house. So anyway, so now I'm hearing stories on social and on the news that a lot of these, if everyone been down in this area, it's like a big grid. There's, everything's perpendicular to each other, and all of the streets that were perpendicular to Chiquita, the main ones that brought you out of the island, were completely flooded, and people were not even knowing if they were on the road or not, and a lot of them weren't, and they were like basically driving into ponds and small little rivers and fucking crazy shit like that. It was nuts. And got home, showered, I said fuck it, took a Xanax my girlfriend left for me, and that really helped. And woke up the next morning and walked back, and all the water receded, so I walked back to my car, and it was sitting up there in the perch. Grabbed it, took it home. Everything's good, it's running fine. Drove it out today, as we had a bunch of thunderstorms yesterday too, but apparently it dropped 5.5 inches 5.5 inches in an hour or something crazy like that. It was fucking stupid. Florida weather's wacky, man. I think tomorrow might be the best day. Heading up to Tampa with the Viva boys. Steven, the owner's taking me and Campfire up there for some golf and a Lightning game. So hopefully we'll have some good days ahead before I head back to the homeland of Milford, Connecticut. And I hope all the snow's gone by then, but I highly fucking doubt it. I don't know. Everyone watched the playoffs this weekend. Every game sucked except the Detroit game, which is usually the case in the first round. You get some bad matchups. But this weekend, I'm not even going to go talk about the games last week. Fuck Dallas, fuck Philly, they're out. Boo-hoo. But, I mean, now it's just a clear sailing for San Fran to make it into the Super Bowl. I think the AFC is where it's at right now. I think Baltimore should beat Houston, but I think Houston's not going to go quietly. I also think that the KC-Buffalo game might be... I mean, these guys play classics. They do. If you go back to the divisional round 3 years ago, to the AFC Championship game, to regular season games, these guys play within 3 points, and I think that's what the line is. So whoever you like, I'd tease it the other way. Fuck it. It's probably a field goal game, so, I'm rooting for Buffalo. I can't stand Kelsey. I can't stand fucking all the bullshit. Mahomes, his wife, his brother. It's just fucking... I'm over it. I guess this is how people felt for 20 years with Tom Brady, but I don't know. I guess that's the feeling. So it should be a good game of weekend of games. Looking forward to it. Hopefully no bad weather, super bad weather anyway in Buffalo, and get some clean games going this weekend. Some of those games are just kind of tough to watch when it's so windy and cold and snowy and whatever. But a lot of the biggest NFL news is circling around all these NFL coaching vacancies, and obviously, Belichick's out there. Great run in New England for him. I talked about it on my buddy's podcast, The Drive Home with Chris Mercurio. We went into detail for about an hour or so about Belichick's tenure in New England, and how all the hit pieces are going to come out now, and how media has changed over the course of those 24 years that he was there. And I think they owe a lot to Bill for all the clicks they got and the money they made and the shows they went on, all because of him. If they sucked for the last 24 years like they did the 24 years prior to that, they wouldn't be on PTI or Around the Horn or all these local shows. They're like TV personalities now. None of that would have happened. But nope, they pile on because it's more clicks, more money, more shows to talk about. And unfortunately, that's the world we live in, and it's all overreaction every day. Excuse me. And so, interesting to see where he goes. I would love to see him. I hate Dallas, but that's kind of where I want to see him go. I think all the Dallas fans would be like, "What the fuck?" And then when they realize how detail oriented and disciplined he'll make that team, and if as long as he gets the right offensive coordinator in there, I think Bill will have or Philly. Atlanta's weird because they don't really have a quarterback. So does he want to go that route? He's probably only got 3 years left. He's already 72. That gets him to 75. He's going to win 10 games automatically for each Philly or Dallas, and probably 12 with Dallas if they keep their keep their core. So enjoy the games this weekend. I'll be back on social starting tomorrow on Instagram. Been kind of away from that, since the new year. So it was good to get away, good to clear my head. Dealing with a parent loss is never easy. My brother's been a rock. He's been kind of dealing with everything up there, and I feel bad being down here, but he's like, go, dude, just go. There's nothing to do right now. We'll get everything situated in a month or two. With probate and all that other bullshit you got to deal with something like this that I've never gone through. So, love you, Justin. Thanks for taking the lead on this. Appreciate it. If you're in the, I wanted to do a couple little shout outs. If you're in the Cape Coral area and you like grazing boards, charcuterie boards, there is a place called Grazing House. You'd have to Google it. It is on the main road, Cape Coral Parkway, but Nicole had found them through Instagram, and we walked in and the lady was fantastic, and we actually spent about a half hour with her as they were making a small one for us, and highly recommend it. All the cheeses were great, the meats, the fruit and chocolates in there, and perfect for Super Bowl parties or just get-togethers. Nicole always makes them at home, so a little cheaper that way, but more convenient to go and support a local business if you're ever in this area. And a new restaurant opened up that my girlfriend found on Google called High Tides Social House. Probably the best pizza I've had in Florida, and they're pretty new, so maybe they're from the Northeast, but it was really good. And it was right on the water. Well, it wasn't right on the water, but it was down at the marina near the, what hotel is that? The Westin down in Cape Coral. And I will be frequenting that place. It was chilly, so everything's been kind of, the only benefit of it being the weather the way it is, you walk right into a restaurant. It doesn't matter what fucking time it is. You walk in, you get a table. It's like, usually this time of year, it's like, just prepared to wait, 20 minutes, half hour before you fucking get going. And, so High Tides Social House, go check it out if you're in the area. And one last thing, a friend of mine, JD Lewis, has started his own podcast called Untamed Conversations. And he's got a couple out now. They're on Apple and Spotify, short ones, introductory ones. I listened to him last night. He's got a really good flow, good voice. And he's talking a lot about his life struggles to start, and he's bringing guests on. I just want to give him a little shout out. It's Untamed Conversations with JD Lewis. Give it a check out, and I will talk to you guys, I think, in like 10 days when I'm home. We're starting out with Tony Vitti, and we're doing Barrels for a Cause with Corey Shoup from Wines and More. And we're going to talk bourbon and probably still some football because, it's going to be going for the next few weeks. So I hope everyone's had a better new year than I have. Keep moving forward, and love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.